I can't wait for season 3 of Demon Slayer. Tanjiro's a freaking beast of Demon Slayer. I can't wait, I can't wait. I can't wait for season 3 of Demon Slayer.
For a very long time, I wanted to find a new anime show that I can watch and enjoy, but no anime has delivered. I searched for many genres like crime, adventure, and fantasy, but still nothing was interesting. So my friend said, hey, why don't you try to watch Demon Slayer? I was hesitant, but I finally gave it a chance and it was really freaking good. So now, I want to guide the anime community through the thrilling season of Demon Slayer before season 3 comes out.
But I can see so clearly there's really one decision in the valley of vision. Maybe I need.
The inception of this story starts with a slim young boy with a scar on his forehead carrying a young girl on his back through the thick snow. The thickness of the weather is making it hard for the young boy to breathe, but his willpower is helping him survive. We then enter a flashback of the main character Tanjiro going on a mission to transport wood to another location. On his way to leave the village, he sees his sister running back home holding a child, and his sister tells him this child is attached to him ever since his dad died. Tanjiro continues on his journey and arrived at his destination. Then he dropped off goods and left. However, on his way home, the sun went down and the man told him that he wants him to stay the night because there are demons upon us. Once Tanjiro entered in the house, he asked the elderly man, "What do you mean by demon?" The elderly man says that demons travel through the night and demon slayers protect us from them. Once the sun rose in the morning, Tanjiro returned back to his house and sees his family massacred. Tanjiro noticed that only Nezuko, his sister, is still alive. So he put her on his back and ran through the snowy forest for help. This brings us to the present time. When Nezuko woke up, she tries to bite Tanjiro, but Tanjiro stops her immediately and notices she turned into a demon. Suddenly, a swordsman jumped in the air to eliminate the demon, but Tanjiro protected his sister by moving her out of the way. The man instantaneously grabbed his demon sister and threatened to kill her because that's what his main job is, to eliminate all demons. Tanjiro begged this man to spare his sister's life, but it seemed like there was no hope, so Tanjiro attacked the man but failed. Few moments later, the swordsman finally spared their lives and told him to find a man named Sakoni. He will help you and never let her be exposed to sunlight or she will die. The next day when the sun rose, Nezuko ran into a cave and digged a hole to hide from the sun. Tanjiro then developed an idea to create a basket that can block out the sunlight because he still wants to move during the day. After Nezuko entered the basket, Tanjiro started his journey towards Mount Sagiri. On the way, Tanjiro smelt the scent of blood. He rushes towards the area and sees a demon feasting on a dead body. The demon attacked Tanjiro and mounted him to the floor as his sister saved him by kicking the demon's head off. Tanjiro was shocked because the demon's body can still move and the head can still talk. The headless body still tried to kill both of them, but Tanjiro quickly stabbed the head with his hatchet and pierced it to the tree. Furthermore, he ran to Nezuko to save her and pushed the demon off the edge. Tanjiro meets a man in a mask that told him his weapon cannot kill that demon. So Tanjiro picked up a rock to finish the job. However, the sunlight rose from the darkness, desecrating the demon's head with the sun rays. Afterwards, the man in the red Oni mask told Tanjiro that he still has to test him to see if he can actually be a part of the Demon Slayer Corporation. The next day, Tanjiro's training started. But first, the masked man explains Demon Corps and demons in the world. Number 1, Demon Slayer Corporation is a group that is hidden from the government. They have over 100 members in the corp as of today, and their main job is to protect the people from demons. Number 2, demons are hunters that kills humans. Their wounds heal extremely fast, and some can shapeshift. There are only 2 ways that you can kill demons, and that's by a special sword or by sunlight. Tanjiro has become a lot stronger by training in the force, avoiding traps, and developing new techniques with his sword. Tanjiro's last challenge was to cut through a large rock that seems impenetrable, and another masked man appeared out of nowhere challenging his skills. While the two were fighting, Tanjiro doesn't believe that he can win. In his current state, the man with the wooden sword knocked Tanjiro out until he woke up the next morning with a girl next to him. She starts to give him information about breathing techniques to help him train and get better for battle. Tanjiro trained for 6 months in the woods and finally re-challenging the man in the white mask and the wooden sword. However, soon as the fight began, Tanjiro swung his sword, cutting the man's mask in half. But when he looked again, it was actually the boulder that he cut in half. Once Urokodaki arrived in Tanjiro's training area, he saw the boulder cut directly in half. He looked at Tanjiro and finally passed him through the training course. Now Tanjiro is ready to enter into the final selection test directly from Demon Corps. Once Tanjiro said his goodbyes to head towards his final selection, Tanjiro told Urokodaki to say hi to Sabito and Mokomo. Urokodaki was shocked and asked how did he know the names of the dead. This information implies the masked boy and girl that was in Tanjiro's training area was spirits and not really people. Tanjiro makes it to the entrance of the Demon Slayer corpse and sees a row of wisteria trees. Wisteria trees are a symbol of romance in most cultures. However, the meaning of the flower carries is loyalty that's beyond death. But back to the story. Once Tanjiro arrived to the main area, he sees 2 girls that are explaining the rules. Number 1, every demon that's inside of the battlegrounds were captured by demon slayers just for this event, and the wisteria flowers is what keeps them from leaving. And number 2, you have to survive for 7 days in the land of the demons. The final test began and Tanjiro started his journey into the battlegrounds. Soon as he entered, he ran into 2 demons that were fighting against each other and wanted to devour Tanjiro. Tanjiro used 4th form Striking Tide to sever their heads and kill his first demons. To his left, Tanjiro sees a boy running away from a massive blob demon that is killing a lot of trainees. Tanjiro intervenes as he saves the boy on the ground. Once Tanjiro spoke to the demon told him that he reminds him of 2 warriors that he devoured a long time ago. He's talking about Sabito and Mokomo, the spirits that helped Tanjiro get stronger during training. Tanjiro charged towards this blob demon out of pure emotions with technique and sliced the monster's head off. Tanjiro runs to his destination at the end of the pathway and sees wisteria trees. He immediately knew that he made it to the end and passed the final selection test. But not just him, it was 3 other warriors that passed as well. The 2 young ladies showed up and tell them that they're going to get their rank engraved on the back of their hand to solidify each person's rank. There are 10 levels in the ranking system, and each demon slayer will work to climb the ranks. However, the Mohawk guy wanted his demon slayer katana now and doesn't want to wait, but Tanjiro calmed him down for the time being. The lady pulls a cloth from the table and sees 16 rocks that contain an aura. You can use this with your sword. Later that day, Tanjiro was limping home from the exam and couldn't wait to hug his sister. Once he made it inside, Tanjiro told Urokodaki that he avenged his students by killing the demon that started this. Urokodaki appreciated this information and told Tanjiro that he's glad to see that he passed the test because a lot of people don't pass it. The next morning, another masked man saw Tanjiro and gave him a new sword to help him with higher level demons. Whoever holds the sword changes the blade's color. Suddenly, a crow appeared and gave Tanjiro his first mission from the demon corpse. And the crow gave them a message and said that many women are missing in the village and needs help to find the root problem. Tanjiro puts on a plaid Haori jacket and the demon slayer uniform to prepare himself for the first mission. But we find out what Tanjiro's desire is. Tanjiro's main desire is to collect information to find out how to turn Nezuko back to a human being. Urokodaki gives Tanjiro a new container as a gift. It will block the sunlight from getting inside much better than his old one. Tanjiro travels west and enters the village that complained about the missing women. He meets a man named Kazumi and helps him search for the predator by smelling the demon scent. Later that night, we see a black shadow following a woman in a room and kidnap the woman through the bottom of the floor. When the monster appeared, Tanjiro smelled the scent of the demon and tracked its location. Once Tanjiro located the exact position of the demon underground, he reached his hand inside and grabbed the woman that was kidnapped, saving her life. Tanjiro used the 8th water form called Waterfall Basin, cutting the demon's arm off. Seconds later, a flashback happened with Urokodaki, telling Tanjiro that only one demon can turn a human into a demon, and his name is Muzan Kibutsuji. We head back to the present and see Tanjiro trying to cut the demon with water techniques but kept missing. The demon tried to ambush Tanjiro from behind, and Nezuko kicked the demon in the face, exiting the container to help Tanjiro. Nezuko charged the demons while growling in anger, attempting to bash the demon's head in, but the demon quickly evades. Tanjiro sees the hole the demons are traversing through and dived inside to catch the demons off guard. The demons surround Tanjiro and try to attack him with a coordinated attack, but Tanjiro used the water technique 6th form to slice the demons into pieces. However, there is still one left, but he is overground fighting Nezuko. This fight showcased how good Nezuko hand-to-hand combat is, but she still gets injured by the demon. When the demon tried to deal the final blow to Nezuko, Tanjiro arrived just in time to slice the demon's arm off. Tanjiro then interrogates the demon on the ground, asking him about Muzan, but the demon says he can't say anything. The demon dived towards Tanjiro, attempting to murder him, and Tanjiro sliced his head off, bringing justice to the village. After Tanjiro completed his mission, the crow landed on his shoulder and told him about the second mission at Asuka. The scene quickly cuts to the big city Akasuka, and Tanjiro is astonished how advanced the society has become. However, Tanjiro smelt the scent of the demon that was in the house when his family was killed, so he chased that scent. The scene led him directly to the very first demon, Muzan. Muzan disguised himself as a civilian that has a family to blend in with society. Muzan quickly slashed the civilian in the back of the neck, creating another vicious demon. This action allows Muzan to create a diversion and slowly walks away. Tanjiro had to detain the demon before he killed any civilians in the city, but the security tried to arrest Tanjiro. A demon woman then slashed her arm to create an illusionary scent to help Tanjiro escape the guards. When Tanjiro talked to the woman, she revealed that she is a demon, but also a doctor as well. The scene transitions to Muzan walking in the alley as he encounters a drunken man. The man provoked Muzan, talking to him in a condescending tone until the aggravated demon punched him in the face. His brother tried to protect him, but Muzan levitated him in the air, killing him as he fell to the ground. Muzan kneels down to the woman and stuck his finger in her head, giving her too much of his blood and destroyed her from the inside. Muzan summoned his generals and ordered them to find and kill Tanjiro, the one with the Hanafuda earrings. After Tanjiro ate some food, he meets his new friend and he guided them through a secret passageway, entering through a wall. He meets the woman that saved his life, and she tells him that she broke Muzan's curse, meaning she can survive with a small amount of blood instead of a large amount. She is 200 years old and she figured out how to transform a human into a demon. That's how she changed her subordinate into a demon. She clarifies that her goal is not to make more demons unless that's what the person truly wants. Tanjiro then asks her, can she turn demons back to human? She states that she doesn't know how, but if she gains some samples from the 12 Kizuki, she can figure it out. Later that night, we see two demons that Muzan sent to kill Tanjiro preparing to invade their hideout. The demons infiltrated the place Tanjiro and his crew was in. One demon is a slim young boy with eyes on his hand that has an arrow on them. And demon 2 is a slim young girl with yellow cat eyes holding a Tamori. She placed the ball down and kicked the ball through the building, destroying the head of Tomoyo's subordinate. This demon ability is very fast and powerful and destroying the entire house. Tanjiro developed an idea and stopped the Tamori ball with his water technique by stabbing it with his sword, but it didn't work. The demon woman grew 4 extra arms and 4 more balls, increasing the volume of her attack. These attacks are very unpredictable because they are changing mid-air. Yushiro told him that the balls are following a trajectory of the arrows. Furthermore, Yushiro gave Tanjiro a spell that will allow him to see the enemy's arrows to defeat them. Tanjiro went on the offensive and used the 3rd form water technique to destroy the Tamori ball and slice the demon's arm off. Yushiro quickly turns towards Tomoyo and said, "Let's escape while everyone is distracted." And she was shocked for a minute, then he turns around and says that he was just playing. However, the demon quickly grew her arms back, linking up with her partner to fight Tanjiro. Nezuko and Tanjiro split up and attacked the very skillful demon but succumbed to their attacks. The attributes of these demons are a lot better than the regular demons that are roaming the city. So Tanjiro begins to start calculating the arrows. Once he adapted to the demon's ability, he combined 2 different water techniques to finally cut off the skillful demon's head. After Tanjiro cuts the demon head off, the demon used the ultimate technique to send Tanjiro in a spiral. In order to survive, Tanjiro had to use multiple water techniques to stop the impact until the demons have faded away. Tanjiro is severely injured, crawling on the ground trying to get to Nezuko but can't. Nezuko continued to fight the 6-armed demon, but Tomoyo knew that she needed help. So she stepped in the way and asked the demon, "What is your leader's demon's name?" But when the demon refused to respond to her, the demon accidentally said Muzan's name and triggered the curse. Tomoyo then used her ability to weaken the enemy brain functions, and a arm burst through the demon's chest, killing the demon. Once Tomoyo examined the eye of the demon, she realized that the demon lied about being part of the 12 Kazuki, because all 12 Kazukis have numbers tattooed on their eye. Tanjiro walked over to the demon that passed and placed her Tamari next to her. Then he realized that the demon didn't actually lie to them about being part of the 12 Kazuki. They were deceived by Muzan to motivate them. Tanjiro walks to the basement and links up with Nezuko to make sure she's okay. Nezuko hugged Tomoyo for helping them survive and continued their journey to southeast. While traveling, he's seen a young boy wearing a yellow Hawari begging a girl to marry him. He grabs a yellow-haired boy that he's seen at the final selection and tells him, "Stop begging women to marry you. What are you doing? Me and that girl is in love and we're really about to get married." The woman then starts to hit him in the head and said that she already has a fiance as she strut off in the village. The yellow-haired boy then states how he doesn't believe in his own skills, and the things that happen in the final selections haunts him. He also believes that he will get eaten by a demon, so Tanjiro and Zenitsu teamed up for the next journey. However, the crow soared near them and told them to run to their next mission. Run. Later that day, Tanjiro and Zenitsu approached the house, and there were 2 children sitting and moping by a tree. When Tanjiro asked them what's wrong, the children said that the monster dragged their brother inside and kidnapped him. Seconds later, everyone started to hear a drum sound repeatedly and looked at the window, and a boy flew out hitting the ground. Tanjiro confirmed, "Is this your brother?" And the children says no. Their brother was wearing a orange colored kimono. Tanjiro and Zenitsu enters the house with caution, but being very meticulous. But Zenitsu is extremely scared, complaining about Tanjiro's broken ribs. The kids enter the house terrified as well because Tanjiro left them with the demon, and the sounds that were coming from the box were terrifying. But suddenly, they hear the sound of the drum and the rooms flipped, separating the 2 warriors in different rooms, isolating them. Tanjiro sees the demon that has the drum power to change the rooms. He drew a sword and attacked the demon, but the demon hit the drum again and the room flipped once again. Tanjiro figures out the entire house is the demon's territory. However, a young man with a boar mask barges in the room with 2 swords to kill the demon. The boar turns towards Tanjiro trying to attack him, but the demon struck his drum and claw marks separated the 2. Next we see Zenitsu escorting the young boy through the house with extreme fear, and it's making the boy uncomfortable. A different demon appears in the house and scared the living mess out of Zenitsu, so they run to a different room to hide. The demon crawls in the room and tells Zenitsu that he's going to eat his brain, and Zenitsu instantly passed out in fear. The boy tried to move Zenitsu from the claws of the demon, but suddenly Zenitsu woke up and charged his thunder technique and obliterated the demon. So I believe Zenitsu has dissociated personality disorder, having 2 different personalities living inside of him. The first one is the fearful personality, and the second one is the fearless personality. That's what I think. But after he killed the demon, his personality switched back to the fearful one and thought that the young boy killed the demon. It's like he's oblivious when he switched personalities. In the next scene, we see the boar-headed man charging the demon head on, cutting his arms off, advancing through the building. The 2 children finally found their brother in the orange kimono. Tanjiro wrapped his wounds and asked him what happened. The boy states that after the demon had taken him, there were more demons that began fighting over him. Once the demon with the drums had lost the fight, one of the drums fell off of his body. So the boy grabbed it and used one of the drums to switch the rooms to hide himself. I'm gonna say this right now that this is really good story writing. When you make everything make sense from the beginning to the end, it's great. The writer of Demon Slayer isn't trying to leave no plot holes. Tanjiro runs back into the demon with the drums and starts to concentrate on the demon's abilities and how it works. He realizes that each drum has a different function. The right drum turns the room right and the left turns the room left. He raises his sword and prepares to attack the demon. The final stand has started to get crazier as the demons start rapidly hitting the drum, tossing Tanjiro left, right, up, and down. Tanjiro has his hands full, not having the opportunity to think about his next moves. We enter another flashback and we see that the demon wants to devour the boy because he wants to become a part of the 12 Kazuki. The boy has Mirechi blood that intoxicate the demons. We also understand that when the demon was a human, his teacher always told him that he would never be good enough of anything. So this is what drives him to try to destroy people in perfection. We go back to the present and the demon goes bananas with his drums, making Tanjiro dizzy. When Tanjiro recovered, he used total concentration water breathing technique to adapt to the changes of the room. He finally got close to the demon and chopped his head right off. Tanjiro collected the demon's blood and a cat appeared, so he placed the blood vial in the cat's backpack to send to Tomoyo. Tanjiro goes outside to regroup with the others and sees the young man with the boar's head attacking Zenitsu. Zenitsu says that the reason why he wanted to protect the container was because Tanjiro said that the box meant the world to him. He doesn't know why Tanjiro is traveling with the demon, but he trusts his decision. I have to say right here that Zenitsu is a true friend. He risked his life to protect his homeboy's precious things. Anybody would love to have a friend just like that. Tanjiro charges at the man with the boar mask and socked him in his chest and broke his ribs. He tells the man that we're not supposed to fight unless provocation was initiated by their opponent. The boar mask guy ignores him and attacks Tanjiro using swift hand-to-hand combat techniques. Tanjiro finally grabs the guy and headbutts him, staggering his opponent. Suddenly his mask falls off his face and we see a black and blue haired young boy with green eyes. He tells him that his name is Inosuke and passed out because of the impact of Tanjiro's head. Once the boy woke up, he wondered why everyone was burying the dead, and Tanjiro told him it's because it's a sign of respect. The three children thanked the three warriors for saving their lives, and Tanjiro began his journey to another village with his new friends. While the three young boys was on their journey, an old woman invited them to stay overnight because demons travel through the dark. While the boys were trying to go to sleep, Nezuko woke up and Zenitsu became extremely obsessed with her beauty. The next morning, the young men woke up and started their journey to Mount Naragumo. On the path to Mount Naragumo, they see a member of the Demon Slayer corpse lying on the ground in pain, and suddenly something pulled the guy in the woods as he screams for help. Tanjiro and his new friends entered the woods to investigate and saw another Demon Slayer member holding a sword. The young men said that the crow ordered 10 of the Demon Slayer corpse to come to this area, and all of a sudden, everyone started killing each other for no apparent reason. The young man started to hear a weird sound in the atmosphere and a bloody member of the corporation started to attack them. Tanjiro suspected that they were being controlled by threads and cut the wires that were attached to their back. He looked at his arms and sees spiders crawling until they connected his arms to invincible wires. Tanjiro cut the wires and spreaded the information he just observed from the enemy. The demon finally revealed himself standing on top of his threads and in the tree saying, "I will not allow you to disturb my family." Inosuke wanted to find the true users that are controlling the thread, so he placed his sword in the dirt and spread his hand using a sonar technique until the demons was located. Inosuke found the demon that's controlling the threads and pointed in the direction he's stationed. But before they go after the demon, there's a problem that needs to be dealt with first, and that's to save the Demon Corps members. Murata just told them to go and fight the demon, and he'll deal with the remaining members. Tanjiro and Inosuke trusted Murata, but on the way, there was a young woman trapped in threads trying to attack them. Tanjiro allows the woman to chase them until he turned around and grabbed the woman to throw her over the branch. The threads on her body got tangled up and stopped the corp members from attacking. So Inosuke followed Tanjiro's plan and placed the rest of the Demon Corp members over the branch, except one. Once the two young men tried to save the last member, the demon snapped all the puppets' necks because they became useless. Seconds later, a headless demon appeared that's a lot bigger than the typical ones to attack Tanjiro and Inosuke. This demon is also being controlled by the threaded demon that started this problem. The two young men created a team attack by using Inosuke's sharp techniques and Tanjiro's water technique to slice the demon into multiple pieces. So he grabs Tanjiro and launches him directly in the air like Tanjiro did him. While Tanjiro was hovering over the forest, he saw the threaded demon's location and headed towards the area. Once he arrived, Tanjiro used his fifth form, Blessed Rain, after the drought, cutting the demon's head off. Right before the demon faded away, the demon told Tanjiro that the 12 Kazuki is amongst them. Moments later, we see Zenitsu standing in the woods complaining about everything that's going on as he's terrified roaming through the woods. At his feet, he sees a plethora of spiders trying to crawl on him and sprinted deeper into the forest. Once he made it to an open area, he saw a house surrounded in mid-air with spider webs. A black huge spider with a demon head descended from the house. He starts telling Zenitsu that he will turn into a spider because he already been bitten by one. Zenitsu then remembered how his mentor was teaching him not to be fearful of the difficult challenges ahead of him. He has to conquer his weak mentality to conquer his opponents. And that was the same day he was struck by lightning that caused his hair to turn yellow. After having this memory, Zenitsu fainted off the branch and his personality transitioned to the fearless one. He immediately used the thunder-breathing first form, preparing to eliminate the demon, but the demon kept sending enemies to prolong his attack. While fighting, Zenitsu remembered why he's fighting, and that's because he believes that one day he will accomplish something important and prove that he's useful. The spiders attacked and injured Zenitsu, then crowded him on the ground. Seconds later, he charged up his ability, destroying the spiders, and used his thunder-breathing first form, Thunderclap and Flash, to instantly cut off the demon's head. Zenitsu falls on the ground because of the poison from the spider. Meanwhile, Tanjiro and Inosuke regroup at the lake, talking over which direction they want to go. Next, a young demon woman appears to be observing the two young men until her father enters the scene violently. We then see two Hashiras that arrive to the battlefield, observing the location of all the Demon Corps members. So if you're wondering what is a Hashira is the highest level of Demon Corps hierarchy. They are only summoned in dire situations that have the 12 Kazuki's members present. The two Hashiras on the battlefield is Tomiyoko and Shinobu. Tanjiro and Inosuke are fighting the demon they call Father, strategizing how to fight this beast from angles. So Tanjiro cut the tree to separate the distance between the demon, but the demon quickly grabbed the tree, hitting Tanjiro far away from the battlefield. Later on, Zenitsu is still using breathing technique to slow down the spider's poison to survive. He slowly looks at the moon and sees a butterfly flying towards him, but after he blinked, he realized that it wasn't really a butterfly. It was the Hashira Shinobu. Meanwhile, Tanjiro stops the impact of his fall using water techniques so he can land safely. He starts to hear a young woman's voice crying in the woods, so he followed the voice and runs into the 8th Kazuki member, Rui. A member of the Demon Slayer Corps tries to attack Rui from the back, and the demon obliterated him in an instant. Tanjiro states that the air became thick and hard to breathe the angrier the demon became. Now we see Inosuke running away from the tall muscular demon, trying to wait till Tanjiro returns, but realized he doesn't have time to wait. He turned around and cut off the arms of the demon, and the demon unexpectedly ran away. Inosuke used his nose to sniff out the location of the demon and sees him trembling on top of the tree branch in fear. Inosuke quickly realized he wasn't really trembling in fear, he was evolving to his final form. Inosuke tried to use his breathing technique to cut the enemy's head off, but the demon's skin is so thick that it broke his sword. The demon picked up Inosuke by his head, squeezing him to death, until Tomiyoko the Hashira cut the beast's arms off to save Inosuke's life. Tomiyoko entered his sword stance and used water-breathing fourth form to slice the demon's head off. The camera transitions back to Tanjiro fighting the Kazuki member Rui in a fight to the death. Tanjiro jumped in the air to strike the demon, but the demon's thread snapped his sword in half. Now he has to be on the defensive for this battle until he develops a new strategy. However, when Rui cornered Tanjiro, he used a strong attack to eliminate him, but Tanjiro's sisters Nezuko jumped in front of the attack, absorbing the strike. Rui noticed that his sister has been turned into a demon, and she risked his life to protect her brother. But when his sister asks him not to abandon her, he sliced her into pieces. The woman asks him to give her another chance, and he accepts only if she kills all the demons on the mountain. Rui then explains how moved he is by his sister's actions, and words can't explain the way he felt, but he still has to kill Tanjiro. He then tries to bargain with Tanjiro, saying that if you give me your sister, I'll let you go free. Tanjiro refuses and tells him that's not how you create a bond. A bond is created through time, love, and memories. He will never give up his sister. Rui used his threats to capture his sister and hung her in the trees as she drips with blood. Tanjiro told himself to calm down and don't get emotional because you'll play right into his strategy. But Rui leveled up his threats to max strength, summoning a cage around Tanjiro. Tanjiro believes that he might die right here, and his life flashes before his eyes. He started to have many different memories of his family and father before he died. One memory shows his father telling him about a secret dance technique. Tanjiro awakens his form, cutting the thick threads of Rui as he charged him with a powerful attack, cutting off the 10th member of the Kazuki's head. Tanjiro falls to the ground out of exhaustion, crawling towards his sister Nezuko. He begins to smell the demon's scent again and notices that Rui's headless body is walking towards him. Rui reveals that he used his own threads to cut his own head off before Tanjiro did it. He puts his head back on, walking towards Tanjiro, covering his surroundings with his threads, and Tomiyoko the Hashira cuts Rui's thread, saving his life. Tomiyoko used his 11th water form, blocking Rui's attack, and quickly decapitated the 10th Kazuki. A flashback happened that shows how Rui built his family. He found random people to take an oath and drink his blood, to change them into a demon. Every human he changes becomes a part of his corrupted family. He now sees his sister being subdued by the Hashira Shinobu. She questioned the demon, asking how many people she had killed. The demon said only 5, but she was forced to do it. Shinobu said this is a lie because she counted 80 humans by observing how many cocoons are hanging in the trees. The demon breaks out from Shinobu's containment to get away. However, the skillful Hashira used her sword technique to slit the woman's throat and allow her poison to kill her from the inside. Tomiyoko looks at the demon on the ground and remembered that they were the children he let go from the beginning of the story. However, Shinobu dashes towards Nezuko trying to eliminate her, but Tomiyoko stepped in front of Nezuko and Tanjiro, protecting their lives. Shinobu tells him to move away from the demon so she can use a gentle toxin to unalive her. Tomiyoko told Tanjiro to take his sister and run away. But while he was running away, he was kicked in the back, dropping Nezuko on the ground. Meanwhile, when Tomiyoko and Shinobu were getting ready to fight, the crow appeared and gave everyone a message saying Nezuko and Tanjiro need to be brought back to headquarters immediately. So the Demon Slayer Corporation rounded everybody up and brought them back to headquarters. Once Tanjiro woke up, he seen 6 members of the Hashira standing over him. The Hashira told Tanjiro that the reason why he was summoned to headquarters is to be put on trial. So the first question they asked is why is he traveling with the demon as a demon slayer? Tanjiro states that the demon is his sister and she never eaten another human for food. All she needs is deep sleep to recover. The Hashira number 5 grabbed Nezuko's container and stabbed Nezuko with his sword. Tanjiro yells to the top of his lungs for him to stop, but the Hashira didn't listen, so Tanjiro attacked him by headbutting the Hashira. The master of the mansion walks into the trial area to judge the situation and said that Tanjiro and Nezuko have been sanctioned. Some Hashiras disagreed and some didn't care. But a letter was sent to the corporation from Urokodaki. It says let Nezuko and Tanjiro accompany each other because Nezuko has not lost her sense of reason. She has never devoured anyone and they will atone by committing to seppuku. After the letter was read, some Hashiras didn't believe the message, so they tested her mental fortitude and wanted to see if she'll drink his blood. When Nezuko exited the container, she resisted to drink the Hashira's blood, but remembered the first time Tanjiro fought for her life. The Lord of the Demon Slayers told Tanjiro, even though Nezuko has passed the test, in order for the Hashiras to accept you as a Demon Slayer is by defeating one of the members of the 12 Kazuki members. After Tanjiro accepts, 2 guards ran from around the corner and took Tanjiro to the recovery area. Upon arrival, he saw his 2 friends that fought with him in battle are on the bed being treated. The very next day, Tanjiro and his friends are going through rehabilitation training, making them stronger physically, mentally, A lot of relationships have been built and attributes have increased. Meanwhile, we see that Muzan summoned the lower 6 of the 12 Kazuki into the Infinity Castle. The lower 6 had no idea why they were present in front of Muzan disguised as a woman. He asked him a question about why Rui the lower 5 had died, saying, "Why are the lower 6 Kazuki so weak?" One of the lower members thought to himself, "You make it sound so easy." Unexpectedly, Muzan responds saying that what's so easy? The lower moons was frightened when he realized Muzan can read their minds. Then Muzan goes on a slaughtering rampage, dismantling the lower 6 Kazuki except one. Now we transition back to Tanjiro and crew getting on a train station for the next mission. If there's anyone that made it to the end, don't forget to like the video and subscribe, and let me know what's your favorite part below.